Hey guys, welcome back to the All Star Boxing Podcast. If you're new to the podcast, make sure you subscribe. If you like this episode, jab that like button and share it out there. We had a really cool episode. We had the IBF Pan Pacific and WBA Oceania and WBC Australasian light heavyweight champion, Conor Wallace. We all know who he is. He's a funny Irishman. And we definitely went through a few parts of his amateur career to where he's at now. His next fight's on the December 20th at the Music Hall, Fortitude Music Hall. And I'm excited for this episode. Let's go.
He needs to be bringing a good game if he thinks he's going to be close to beating me. I am the number one light heavyweight in this country. When the people feel the power of my left hand, not too many stay standing up.
I fought taller fighters, big punches before. When I'm mentally prepared and physically prepared, no one can beat me. One shot for me can't pull anyone out.
Bro, Conor, thank you for coming in, man. I know you're deep in camp. Next fight's December 20th, Fortitude Music Hall. I've been bugging you to come in, so you're finally here, so I appreciate it, so thank you.
Yeah, it's all good. Thank you very much for having me on. As I said, we talked about it for a bit, but it's finally here and it's good to be here.
And I think it's the right timing too, because I know I've been saying, bro, we've got to get on the podcast and rada, but I think the timing's right. So where are you now, 4 weeks out?
Yeah, it's exactly 4 weeks tomorrow until the fight, so perfect timing. Obviously, the date of my fight was changed a few times, but it is what it is. That's the fight game. We're professional athletes, we just got to stay
roll with
tuned
the punches.
And, 100% roll with the punches, as you say, and just get ready, and I'm ready to go for December 20.
Yeah, nice. So IBF Pan Pacific, WBA Oceania, WBC Australasian light heavyweight champion bouts, all the regional bouts. So next fight, would they all be on the line?
No, for this fight, it's not. This fight's actually at a catch weight of 81 kilos. I'm fighting Mose Jr. Jr. He's fought up at cruiserweight and he's fought at light heavyweight. This fight's actually just an 8-rounder.
Yeah.
It's not for the belts, but it's going to be a good test for me because Mose has been in with a couple of top opponents and he's durable. He's a good, strong puncher, and I know it's going to be a good test. So it's another stepping stone in my career, and every fight from here on in for me is a world title fight. It's a must-win fight, and we're aiming to set up for a big 2024 and looking to take on some international opponents and really stick my claim in the light heavyweight scene, in the world scene.
You're at that level now where I think you've done enough domestically to now venture onto the international scene and put your name on the international map. Yeah,
exactly right. I've fought some of the best here in Australia, and I'm just looking forward to getting better and better all the time with stiffer competition and better opponents. And I believe the better the opponent, the better I'll be. It'll bring out the best in me. I fought all over the world as an amateur, so I just feel like now's my time. I feel like I'm getting stronger. Both my hands are healthy. My training's been going really well. My strength and conditioning with Phil, they're really gelling with everything seems to be coming together well for me, So
nice.
It's just a matter of putting it all into practice now under the bright lights. You can do all the sparring you want and look like a world beater in the gym and all this, but it's under the bright lights. It's where I need to do my best work.
Yeah, nice. And I think we can do all the sparring, and sparring's always different in fights. So. Yeah. It's not until you can have all the preparation, but that's why we drill so many things in training camps, and just over and over and over becomes repetition. Because when you're in there and it's so fast and things are just happening so quickly that we just only have time to react sometimes. And that's why drills are so important. And we can't really replicate the fights because they're so different to sparring still.
Yeah. Well, with my sparring, I do a lot of sparring, and it is hard sparring that we do, obviously if we're doing drills and stuff, we do them more sort of in the gym. Back some of the people are not as if you get hit, so what, but when we go away traveling for sparring, it's most of my spars are basically like a fight, because I'm be sparring top class opposition here in Australia,
So you're fighting out of Fortitude Boxing, but I want to go back to, you're from Northern Ireland?
Yeah, Northern Ireland, yeah.
So give us your story. So before we punchline to your trip to Australia, How old were you when you first started boxing? Why did you get into boxing?
Yeah, so I started boxing when I was 9 years old. I actually started boxing because I was getting bullied in primary school, and my mum, she took me out to the local boxing gym, and took me out, and obviously, as I say, I was getting bullied in primary school, so she took me into the gym, and just to try and get a bit more self-confidence, not like to go out and get into fights on the street and all that. It wasn't nothing like that. It was just more so just to give me that little bit of self-confidence to be able to like stand up for myself, sort of, and like it was walking home from school, I was getting bullied. That's what it was. So just I think to bring me out of my shell a bit and be able to stand up for myself and protect myself, you know. So that's why she took me to the boxing gym, and from there I just loved it, and it's training hard. I had an old school trainer, Seamus McCormick. He was training me.
What was your gym called?
The Sacred Heart Boxing Club was my first gym that I started at. Yeah,
Secret Heart.
the Sacred Heart.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sacred Heart.
Yeah, that was the first boxing gym I started at, and real old school, you know. Every time I go in, like stand in a line, everyone doing the same thing every night, getting your balance, getting your jab, and it was like, oh, not this again. You know, when we were younger, that's what I felt like, but it stood by me. It was great discipline, and I think that it learned me a lot, just outside of boxing as well, you know, in life, like just in terms of discipline and everything. So
Yeah.
it was great, and from there, so I'm 27 now, so I've been boxing almost for like 18 years. It's a long time when you think about it, you know. So I don't really know much else at this stage. So
Yeah.
I love it. Boxing's my life, and hopefully I can maybe win that world title, and that's all my years of hard work and dedication and sacrifice will pay off.
Yeah. How many amateur fights did you have?
So I had 175 amateur fights.
Yeah, wow.
Fought all over the world, represented Ireland as an amateur, won 7 national titles. As I said, been to America, Russia, many different countries, and I picked up a lot of experience, being in with a lot of top class boys and sparring and fighting, and so some of the guys are world champions now, you know. So
Nice.
it just goes to show you, like, I've been there with the best of them, and it's just about trying to put it into practice myself, all that experience, and I believe I work hard enough, and I've got the right team around me now, and with Tasman Fighters and stuff, and Steve Deller, Fortitude Boxing, I feel like I'm on the right path, and it just goes to show you, like Jai Auimatagi, like that's a perfect example, you know.
Yep.
Just worked his ass off his whole life, and it paid off for him. Not too long ago on the Gold Coast, I fought on the undercard of his world title against Brady. So that's my plan. That's where I'm going. That's where I believe. That's where I want to go, and I believe with the hard work and the team around me, I can do it.
That's the good thing with boxing and with the team that you've got. The pathway is already set. It's just about you putting in the work and then chip it away, fight by fight by fight, because it's all lined up for you. So, you know, and that's the thing with this sport. It's based on wins, but, you know, sometimes a loss can only detour it all, you know, put you on a different path. Sometimes I believe they were meant to be.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. I definitely agree with you there, because obviously most fighters that do have that loss, they come back to learn from that, and I definitely learned from the loss that I had. I come back and got my revenge against Letty, and it made me hungrier. Having that loss, you're not this undefeated star anymore, this undefeated amateur, you know, prospect turned pro. I had that loss. You can't be beat, no worries. Okay, sweet. Go back to the drawing board. What did I do wrong? And made the changes, and look where I am now. I'm ranked number 1 in the country and number 8 in the world. So, but just the only way is up from here, and that's where I'm aiming to go.
When you're at your club, you started training at age 9, and then how long did you train until you had your first amateur bout?
So I started boxing obviously when I was 9, and you can't compete competitively in a decision fight until you're 11. So we call it Boy 1. It's like 11-year-old. I had my first fight when I was 11. Had a few exhibitions and stuff before that, like when I was 10 and stuff, on amateur cards locally.
Yep.
Just doing exhibitions. If our club had a club show, I would be the first fight on in an exhibition. and stuff like that, but didn't actually have my first fight in a championship until I was 11, and then I won my first national title when I was 11.
What did life look like back then? Because you would have been at school, you would have gone home, gone to the gym. What was your lifestyle like?
Yeah, so I was still in, obviously still in school at that young age, and I just used to get up and do my road work in the morning, run 5K in the morning.
Yeah, at that age?
Yeah, at that age, every morning. Like my trainer was old school, he was so old school, and run every morning, gym every night. Like, and we doing the same sort of routine, you know. And that's what it stood by me, because it disciplined me, and as I said, I don't think I would be where I am today without that.
And again, that teaches you structure at a young age when you're conditioned that way. When we say, oh, it's all we know, it's actually a structured routine that helps us throughout our whole life, because, you know, without structure, we're a bit lost. We're like, oh, what do we do? We live around the calendar and the clock.
Yeah.
Sleeping patterns, eating patterns, fighting patterns around the calendar. So it keeps us on.
Yeah,
you know?
like it's amazing how it has changed even now. Like, looking back, like the knowledge I have now, like I never had that sort of guidance and the knowledge that I have now about like making weight and stuff. And obviously I've got a younger brother, Guy. He's like 7 or 8 years younger than me. Whenever he was 11, he was 33 kilos, but whenever I was 11, I was 44. But I was able to guide him about making weight and cutting down on weight a little bit and trying to be as big as you can for that weight. Like, whenever he was in the nationals in his first year, he was, as I say, 11-year-old 33. I was 11-year-old 44. That's 11 kilos. That's a lot of weight for being the exact same age, you know. But that was purely because I didn't have the guidance that he had. Like, in terms of monitoring your weight, whatever I was, I just rocked on. And I was a little bit chubbier and stuff, you know. But it is what it is. Looking back now, I was like, oh, how you would do so many things different. Like, if you look at how even the levels now of the kids, even here in this is a perfect example, the kids in this gym, you know, like it's amazing, the standard and the level and the dedication, and they're using dietitians and everything, you know. And we didn't have any of that back whenever I was as an amateur as such at that young age. And it's only just as I started to get a little bit older and training with the top boys and stuff that I learned off them and picked their brains and was on the national team and stuff, and you learn so much more, and sports psychologists and everything, you know.
Nice.
But whenever I was so young, it was just about purely hard work, dedication, and just busting your balls, you know.
And then fast forward, how did you come to Australia?
Yeah, so Stephen Deller, my manager, is well known in Australian boxing. He had a great connection with Irish fighters, bringing out Irish fighters here before. Obviously Dennis Hogan and stuff was over, and Patrick Hyland and a couple of other boys. So I was actually sitting outside an ice cream shop one Sunday night. I'll never forget it, and I get this Facebook Messenger call. Seeing that my phone looked at, I was like, Stephen Deller was calling me, and his name came up. I was like, I don't know this name. I don't know who this is, but I could see the name of his messenger. I said, oh, I'll answer it. Like, if I can see the person's name, I'm going to answer it. It's different if it's a no caller ID, you know?
Yeah, okay.
But you could see his name and you see his picture and stuff. I was like, oh. Answer. I was like, oh. He goes, hey, how you going? It's Stephen Deller here from Fortitude Boxing in Brisbane. A good friend of mine, Patrick Hyland, was telling me about you. I've been keeping an eye on you. Would you be interested in maybe coming out to Australia to turn professional?
And Australia was never on your mind?
Nah. And I was like, I was taken back. I'll never forget. I was sitting outside the ice cream shop in my hometown called Newry, or city. And I was like, fuck, this is a big question to ask me. Like, I couldn't have said yes or no. Or I was like, oh, well. And whenever he said about Patrick Hyland, I knew he was genuine because I know Patrick Hyland very well. So I was like, oh, yeah, well, obviously I'll have a think about it, and it's just a big thing to ask. Like, I need to maybe come out and have a look and see what the setup is, or like, I was sort of in a crossroads path of like, if I was gonna keep an amateur or turn pro, and a couple of other offers and stuff as well. So I was like, oh, it seemed exciting, and change of path, change of scenery, change of everything, you know. And I came out and had a look at the gym and met the boys and seen what the setup was going to be, where I was going to be staying, or like how I was going to be getting funded, or what, you know. Like, there's a lot of stuff to take on board.
moving overseas.
Yeah, because I had my partner, I had my gym at home, my own little personal training studio at home that I worked out of.
Nice.
As well. So it was a big jump. But I came out and I seen the people, and I met Steve and met my son Greg, who's my coach now, Luke Meldon as well, and I was like, "Geez, this is for me," you know. The weather as well, like this, just the way the people was going on, and it was just a completely different environment to back home, and everyone wanted to see you doing well, and I was like, "Oh, this is definitely for me," you know.
Nice.
So, got my shit together and went back home and got my visa and got my friend Brandy. He took over the gym and stuff for me, and the rest is history, you know. And here I am, just over 5 years later. So
Yeah, nice.
absolutely loving it.
Yeah, cool. Wow, it's such a different life you live. But
Yeah.
You're ingrained in Australian boxing now, you know.
Yeah. I feel like I've done the hard yards. I won the Queensland title. Went it all like the right paths, you know. Built up my career slowly and went through the correct paths. Queensland title, Australian title, and then obviously winning the regional belts and getting the world ranking. So I've took a couple of hard fights and stuff, but I think obviously with big risk comes big reward, you know. Like no one ever thought I was going to beat Faris and stuff, but myself and my team and that believed in me, and like that's the reason why we took the fight. Like if I didn't think I could beat someone, I wouldn't be taking that fight unless it's you know,
of course,
you know. So here we are, and hopefully get a good win to finish the year and set up for a big year next year.
Yeah, nice. And I'm excited to see where you go next year because I know international will be on the cards, you know.
Yeah.
You've done everything here. You've beaten the big names, you know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm sure like just like everywhere else around the world, Ireland itself, there's different boxing gyms. So we've got All-Star Boxing, there's Fortitude Boxing. So, you know, it's not too often that other boxers will cross over, but we cross over because of our conditioning coach, Phil.
Yeah.
You know, so we train, you know, a few days a week. And that's where we get to click, and I think we gel well together.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. Yeah, it's a good buzz. Obviously, pushing each other, and Phil's a great trainer as well. And it's actually, I was looking for a strength and conditioning coach at the time, and I think you were fighting at the music hall or something, and I was like working around to see who, like looking around about strength and conditioning coaches and stuff, and I seen you at the Fortitude Music Hall, and I was like, fuck, he looks in good shape. I wonder who he trains with, you just so happened to train with Phil, because someone else went with Phil as well. But I seen you on the scales and you were shredded, and I was like, fuck, this cunt's in good shape. I wonder who he trains with. You know,
is that how you linked up with Phil?
Yeah, 100%. And then I was like, it was like that was one of the ways that our paths crossed as well. You know, Phil happened to be training you as well, but it was just whenever I seen you, I was like, oh, fuck, you're looking some shape, you know. And then boom, it was Phil you actually trained with, because someone else had told me about Phil as well.
Yep.
So
yeah, okay, linked up.
Both, and I was like, fuck, what's the chances of that, you know?
Man,
and then we've been training together and built a good relationship and connection, I believe, you know.
Yeah, nice. And in your words, like, how important is strength and conditioning? Because I want to. We're professional athletes. That's our full-time job, you know, and. You know, of course, we're in the boxing gym every day, a few recovery days, but it's so important for the other steps of training, whether it's recovery or ice bath or swimming or whatever it is. But in your words, has the training with Phil developed your boxing and your strength?
Oh, 1,000,000%, yes. I feel like my power's getting better and better all the time, and it's getting better with the age and getting better with the strength conditioning that I'm doing. Like, it's not like we're just going in and doing a CrossFit workout and leaving feeling flogged. Like, everything we do is boxing specific, and I believe Phil is a genius, you know. And
Nice.
even my coach Greg Eady, he can even feel like he has said to Phil as well, I can feel like I'm getting more mature, my power's increasing. And that's all work that Phil's doing. It's like injury prevention and stuff as well. And Phil is so smart in that aspect. And Django started training with him now too. Ash Timmins as well has joined him. Like, he's building a good stable, and I think everyone is starting to realise like
The importance of strength conditioning.
The importance of strength and conditioning, and the results that Phil is getting, you know. Like, you just have to look at Django's last fight, and he even said it was the missing piece to his puzzle.
Nice.
The commentators were saying he was moving like a flyweight, you know.
Nice.
He was fighting at that super cruiser or
Yeah,
bridger
the new
weight, whatever it
division,
was,
eh?
you know. And he's 100 kilos, you know.
Yeah.
His movement, and Django said he wasn't even blowing at the end. Like he could notice a massive difference as well. So it works, and it's just a matter of putting the work in, and it's not just an overnight thing, you know. I've been going to Phil for a long time, just like yourself, you know,
Yeah.
and
It's camp by camp by camp.
yeah, as Phil says, like we're starting each camp now. The bar is higher and higher each time, starting fitter, starting stronger, and I feel like I'm just getting stronger and stronger all the
Nice,
time, you know.
Nice. It's like, you know, I'm excited to see how far you can take it because there's only more room to grow.
Yeah,
know?
definitely. Like, and as the fights get harder and harder, you need to be fitter and stronger. You look at the top boys, like they're all doing their strength and conditioning. They're all huge for the weight, and
So those 1% is really...
yeah. And if you're not doing it, you're going to be left behind, or else you're
Yeah.
going to be getting knocked out or beat. You know. So
Yeah. So I'm going to bring up some footage. So obviously your record is 11-1, so 8 KOs and that one loss. Walk us through that one loss. It was Letty. Was that still light heavy?
yeah, that was whenever I had this. I was making a defense of the Australian light heavyweight title.
Yeah.
I had a bit of a layoff after COVID.
2001.
Yeah, I broke.
Oh, 2021.
Yeah, 2021. Yeah, I broke my left hand sparring during COVID. I actually broke it off Django's head. So it was a bit of a disaster. And the Letty fight was my first fight back after my hand surgery, after a long layoff, after major hand surgery. Looking back now, I probably should have had a warm-up fight before I fought Letty, but it is what it is. You live and you learn. We took the fight at the time, and it's boxing, you know what I mean? I'm sort of half glad now because it gets that one loss out of the road. You're not this undefeated prospect. Nobody wants to fight and all this hype train shit. I'm not into that. You know, I'm a realist.
Yeah.
So I had the fight with Eddie, lost. It was a very close fight. Got fight of the year and stuff, I think.
Win the distance.
Went the distance, lost on a split decision. Some say I won, some say I didn't win. Listen, it is what it is. So, like, it was always in my head though that I went back to the drawing board, and I was looking to
Get that back.
Yeah. So
Yep.
had a fight after that against Jackson King.
Yep.
I knocked Jackson King out in the third round, and then
Barris after that.
Oh yes, and then I had the fight for the regional belts. I was a massive underdog in it. I was paying $8. I think a lot of the boys from here won a few dollars as well. So.
I don't know why they had you here so heavily as an
Nah,
underdog.
like, I couldn't understand that myself. I'd say the person that put me them odds probably got sacked. You can't be $8 in a 2-horse race, you know. So, as I say, I took the big fight against Forrest, big risk, some thought, and like I believe, and my team believed in me, and we got the job done. And then obviously, I think Letty said he was retired that time, and then he came out of retirement. And I was offered the chance of fighting him again. That was one of the names mentioned for me to make a defense of the regional belts, and I was like, of course, 100%. Like that was one
year
thing
space.
in my one part of my career that I just wanted to right the wrong, you know.
Yep. So I've got the footage here. This is the rematch,
Yeah.
and I want you to walk us through this. How did you feel leading into this? Like, of course, you wanted to get it back. Nerves or anything?
Nah, not nervous as such. I just, obviously there was a massive crowd again at the Fortitude Music Hall. I just really wanted to right that wrong and prove to people. I knew myself deep down that I could beat him, and I just wanted to show to the public and myself and my team and Steve, my manager, and everything that I could do it, because a lot of people doubted me, you know, and I just wanted to show that I could do it.
So this is the rematch. I want you to walk us through this. Boom. Was he strong? Even though he was shorter, he looked so much stronger. Like just
Yeah, Letty's strong.
heavy.
Yeah.
Had you felt power like that, or it's just the same?
Oh, yeah. I sort of like, obviously in sparring, I've been sparring bigger boys and stuff and felt power, like, but Letty was putting everything into every punch. I reckon he did punch himself out. Sort of. That's.
This was a fight. You could tell.
Yeah, it was a war, and I actually broke my hand in the second round of the fight. This fight, I broke my right hand.
Oh, the other hand.
Yeah, so like that's why it becomes such a war. If you watch, I was always just touching after the second round. I was just touching with my right. I couldn't actually jab, and Steve was like, use your jab, why are you not using your jab? Like, if I had been able to use my jab, it would have been a completely different fight, because he wouldn't have been getting in as near me or as close, and like, my jab's my most important punch, you know?
This is round 3.
Yeah.
Happens to everybody, but
Yeah.
this is what makes champions. This is what makes champions in these moments.
Yeah, a little bit of adversity in round 3. Obviously, he caught me with a right hook, and my mouth guard came flying out, and the Vaseline came off my head. He actually hit me with worse shots in the fight than that one. It just looked so bad.
It was just a
because
weird...
the mouth guard, and I just sat on the rope and I got up straight away. But it was good because he came hard then, and he sort of gassed himself, and there he went down himself. You know, so
everything into every punch.
Yeah. Again, a lot comes back to my fitness and stamina, and obviously my strength and conditioning with Phil, and my boxing with Greg. My condition played a massive part in this fight. If you look at the fight, there's no jabs at all. You know.
Yeah. Okay, now that makes sense.
Always just trying to throw the left. You know.
This is round 6. This is the round.
So I'm always just like hooking or touching with that right. Never really
Never the
getting
jab.
a good solid jab. Just touching,
measure.
touching. Yeah. I think here it comes now. We have a bit of an exchange here. Hits me with a good shot and then come back. This is it. Now, bang. That's it.
You can see it. You can sense it. Boom.
Yeah.
Gone for the kill.
You can see him going like 3 lefts for every 1 right there.
And you just, that was it. That was that moment, eh?
Yeah. That was a massive one, and it really put it to bed. You know, obviously.
Put it to sleep.
Yeah,
What
definitely.
a way to finish it too.
Yeah, 100%, because I had it all to lose in that fight again. It was me with the belts again. Like, Letty was coming with you know what I mean, with nothing. Like, and I just really wanted to right that wrong, and I had everything to lose and nothing really to gain of only getting that win back against him, you know? So, it was good. We sort of put that to bed in my career, and I was able to move on then, you know?
Yeah, nice. Close that chapter, eh?
Yeah.
So I went digging, and we're gonna go through some of the photos that I fished up, and I want you to explain some of these photos.
Yeah.
You and Greg. So how did this relationship happen?
Yeah. So when I come over here,
would you say he's your head trainer?
Yeah, Greg is definitely 100%. Greg is my head coach, and the relationship me and Greg have is a very special one. You know, I really look up to him. We get on well. We're best of friends as well. But when the work needs done, the work needs done. You know what I mean? We can have our downtime together or whatever, or catch up or whatever. But I have a lot of respect for him and a lot of respect for Steve and stuff, and whatever he says goes. You know, I don't question nothing he says, and that's a big thing. You know, it's 100% honesty with myself and Greg, and if I want to have a few beers or whatever and stuff when I'm outside of camp, I tell him I've nothing to hide. You know.
Nice.
And I believe that's why we get on so well.
That's cool. So you've done plenty of rounds with Isaac Hardman. I had him on the last podcast.
Yeah, Isaac's a legend. Again, a good friend. But we just became good friends from spawn, and you would have had to pay an entry fee to see the rounds that me and him done. You know, or me and myself and Isaac done. Like, nice. It was always. We learned a lot from each other, and doghouse rounds. You know, and it was good, and it get you ready, war ready, and ready for the fights. And obviously he's got his fight coming up, and he's looking to make a statement.
You need that sparring where you're both top contenders pushing, because you're just only like riding off each other, eh?
Yeah, every fighter or styles make fights, you know, and every fighter brings a different puzzle, so you need to be able to adapt and to perform with any fighter that's in front of you. You know, a pressure fighter, someone who boxes, you need to be able to do it all.
Yep.
And at that top level, like, most of them can do it all. So if you're not doing it all, you're probably going to be left behind, you know?
Yes. Next one. So you were in Thailand recently. So Liam's there, Jake Wiley. Good trip?
Yeah, unbelievable trip, unbelievable experience. It was my first time there for a training camp. I've been in Chiang Mai for the World University Championships before, like a good few years ago, but this was my first time actually over training with, it's John Boy Hutchison. He's an Irish fella. I know him from back home.
Yep.
He actually had a few fights for Steve here in Australia as well.
What gym was that?
That's Tiger Muay Thai.
Tiger Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So lots of guns go there for training.
Yeah, just different Russians. Heaps of different people, you know. MMA fighters, Thai boxers. Like the boxing, but the level of boxing is getting better and better and better all the time.
Yep.
The sparring was unbelievable, and Liam and that would tell you himself. Liam Wilson, Jake Wiley, and Steve Deller we all went together, and it was a great camp. We were really looked after, and it's definitely something that I'll do again.
Nice. What would be like a day? You'd wake up.
So wake up, we had our morning strength and conditioning, so strength and conditioning one morning, and then sparring, or else sparring or partner work the next, or run, and then we had boxing every afternoon. So in between, we had lots of good food, lots of recovery ice baths, and sport remedial massage, sports massages and stuff, and it was unbelievable. The food was top notch.
Yep.
People were lovely, and like it's definitely, I would definitely recommend it. You know, I'll definitely be back myself, and I can't thank John Boy and the boys at Tiger Muay Thai enough for the help, and even the strength and conditioning was next level as well. Again, the pro fighter S&C with Coach Jay Pato and Coach Mick. It was unbelievable.
That's cool, bro. So yeah, McGregor. So run us through that. Like, you were his sparring partner. Yeah,
so I'm a tall southpaw, similar to Nate Diaz. So again, whenever McGregor had his first loss, that was to Nate Diaz in the UFC. So until you have a loss, you don't need to really change anything. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So whenever he had that loss, again, he went back to the drawing board, and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna have to try and do something to right this wrong." So that was the first camp that he ever actually took a specific sparring partner in. So tall southpaw, which was me. He contacted Michael Conlon. I was on the team with Michael Conlon at the time as an amateur, and the Irish team just broke on to the Irish team. I was a young on the elite team. I was a number 2. So he contacted me. He was like, "Oh, would you be interested in going to Dublin to spar with Conor McGregor?" And I was like, I thought he was messing, you know what I mean? I was like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "Nah, I'm being serious," because he asked for a few names, and Michael Conlon gave him a few names, and I was one of the names that he gave, and he must have watched a couple of videos and footage and stuff, and ended up picking me, and then we went to Dublin for a spar. But the boys were, myself, Michael Conlon and Paddy Barnes, went up to Dublin, and they were like, "If you play your cards right here, he might even use you for the full camp. You know, you might get to Vegas or whatever for his camp." And shut up, boys. You know, he's a fucking wiping me up. You know.
At the time, like, he's a national hero in Ireland.
It was mad. So we went to Dublin this day. Michael picked me up at the house. We went to Dublin. Went in for this, get into the gym, and walked in. McGregor was there, and I was like, "Oh fuck, this is mad," you know?
Yeah, wow.
Like, you were just seeing him. He was just like pacing about, warming up on this. I was like, "Fuck, it's me. It's sparring." I mean, all these other cunts are just standing there. They're not really doing nothing. It's gonna be me that's doing the sparring.
Nice.
So it was a bit like taken back, or you know, and I was like, it didn't feel real. And that was all right. So got in. We done 5 rounds. Sparred really well.
So did he fly you to Las Vegas?
Yeah. So I went in and sparred, and we got some good work in and stuff. And then after the spar, I went to London to fight in the Harringay Box Cup, big amateur competition, and 3 fights in 3 days.
Nice. Wow.
And in the final, I got cut in the final. But McGregor was obviously watching my social media and stuff, because he messaged me and said, "Oh, I seen you get cut. How bad is it?"
Wow.
He goes, "Oh, plenty of Vaseline and a good head guard. You'll be good in no time." And I was like, "Oh yeah, sweet." So I'll let you know how I go. So got the stitches and everything. Then about a week or 10 days later, it was good to go. But in the meantime, he texted me and said, "Oh, how would you be interested in coming to Vegas for the full camp?" And I rang Mick Conlon straight away, and I was like, "He's fucking wiping me up. You know, this is a joke." Because he said this to me originally going to Dublin. And I was like, "Fuck." Wow. So ended up, next thing I know, I'm on the plane to Vegas for the full camp. Lived in Vegas for the 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
8 weeks in Vegas.
They looked after you.
Yeah, everything.
Man,
we had our own car. lived in a big mansion.
Wow.
Trained. Food, everything was paid for.
You were part of the press, or you got to be
Everything, yeah. And
was
then
it huge?
I was. A lot of the press was on me because I was the most similar to Diaz, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they had grapplers. Yes, they had wrestlers and stuff. Dylan Dennis was actually there at the time as well. He was there for the jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
But I was the tall. There was a couple of other tall boys there, but a couple of them were orthodox and stuff. But I was the tall southpaw. So anytime the media or anything came, it was always me that was there. You know, obviously because I'm starting like that. You know, then for the sparring and stuff. And it was unbelievable just to see what it was like at the top level and the work he puts in. He almost has to be told to pull up
Slow
from train,
down.
you know. So seeing what it was like at the top level, being in Vegas for the full fight week, and it was just a different buzz altogether, and that made me very, very hungry to want to be there one day myself, and shows with hard work that it can be done.
Nice, that's cool, bro. Awesome memories. Tyson Fury, and I want to show this one. You younger Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
What's the story with that?
Yeah, so he used to come over himself, and his brothers and stuff used to fight on amateur shows that we ran back home in Ireland. So he would obviously come over them, and he wasn't really a big name as such at that time, or as big, but his brothers used to come over, and we had a great relationship with him. And even whenever he was in Melbourne recently, I was away sparring. Myself and Greg was away sparring, but Luke and Steve was there with Django. He was fighting Joseph Parker, and obviously Fury was there, and he was like, "Oh, where's Conor?" So he was actually asking for me, you know, and then they were able to tell me I was away sparring, he'd be here tomorrow. And as soon as he seen me, he remembered me straight away, and he knew he was able to tell Steve, and I see Conor's doing well. He's moving up in the world rankings and everything. So he was obviously interested in not just me, but in his boxing and stuff. And you wouldn't think, like, why would he be thinking about, or you know, or remember someone like myself, you know? But it felt good, and we seen him, and we had a good laugh, and I showed him that photo, and it was like, holy fuck, I had her there, you know? And it was funny, we had a good laugh, you know?
Wow, that's so cool, bro. There,
so there's Michael Collin, that we were actually there. That was a training camp we were at.
So his controversial fight was a bronze medalist at the 2016 Rio Games. Was that the one?
So I'll tell you a funny story. Yeah, so that was a training camp before the Olympic Games. There was a chance that I was going to be going to the Olympic Games. I got beaten in the elite final, and then against Michael O'Reilly, and he got to the Olympics then, and he tested positive for drugs, and he was sent home.
Wow.
So he didn't even get to compete in the Olympic Games, and I just missed out. But as everything happens for a reason, at that time I ended up getting to go with McGregor then. So I wouldn't have got to go with McGregor if I had been at the Olympics. So looking back now, obviously it's always great to go to the Olympic Games, but the experience I had with Conor McGregor and stuff was unbelievable.
Wow.
So I probably wouldn't change it for the world, you know. It was an unbelievable experience I had.
That's cool, bro. Lamont Peterson, so he fought, where is he at? Mose Jr, Danny Garcia, Lucas Matisse, Amir Khan, Victor Ortiz, Sergey Lipinets.
Yeah.
So this was at
his gym, yeah.
This was in Detroit, was it?
Detroit, yeah.
It was.
So I as an amateur, we used to do this back and forth thing every year. The Americans would come to us, and we would go to them. And I've been to America like 8 or 10 times boxing.
Yeah, wow, okay. Sparring and all of it.
Sparring, everything, and it was a massive opportunity and a massive experience, you know, to be, and you're seeing all these pros, and it was a great opportunity to get to get over and get international experience. And some of the shows were unbelievable, you know, and massive shows, bigger than some of the pro shows here.
Yeah, of course.
And being there and getting to do that, I feel very fortunate, you know. Not many people will get the chance to do that.
That's cool.
So
and even have those opportunities as an amateur to travel and to spar and to go to the States 6, 7, 8, 9 times. That's crazy.
Yeah. Like I've fought against America like 12 times, obviously both home and away, but 12 times as a total. And I only lost once, and the one loss I had was actually to Erickson Lubin.
Okay.
He was a world champion, and he's still a big name at the moment, you know.
Crazy, bro. Kronk Boxing Gym. Was that in Detroit too?
Yeah, that was in Detroit. Yeah, we go out and train, and Sugar Hill took me in the pads and stuff, and
Wow.
it was mad. Like some of the, as I'm saying, like there's some of the experiences I've had, and some like I've been around the boxing game a long time, and
so Kronk Gym, that's one of the legendary boxing gyms. Emmanuel Stewart was there.
Yeah.
The late trainer.
yeah.
What did you pick up? Like, what did you learn? Like being in that space.
Well, I just learned like that. No matter where I went, obviously hard work and everything was number one. But if you do the simple things and do the simple things really well, like the fundamental skills and a nice jab, nice footwork, good defense, it's often hard to beat. And you watch any of them top trainers, they will just constantly reiterate it, drilling it, like almost practicing it that many times where you can't get it wrong, you know? You look at Fury, he does the simple things really well.
Nice.
And
That's cool.
The success that he has had.
Yeah, Tony Bellew. Was that in the same place?
No, that was in Liverpool. That was over at I was over boxing a show in Liverpool.
Yeah.
I met Tony Bellew. It was his amateur gym.
Okay, he's fought David Hay, Adonis Stevenson, and Usyk also.
Yeah,
So
he's been in with some of the best, and I used to really love Tony because he was always an exciting fighter. You know, he was never in a dull fight, and I just loved his heart and determination. Like where he lacked it in skill, he made up for it in heart and determination. You know.
nice, bro. Man, you lived a cool life. And yeah, last photo. This is Irish team, or was this?
Yeah, this was a trip that I had, and this was one of the fights that I lost to Erickson Lubin.
Okay.
Very strong. And I was a kid at the time, like, and he was a lot more. He was a black fella and a lot more mature and massive, like arms and muscles compared to me. And I just had my little stick arms. And I was like, oh fuck.
And you could feel it.
Yeah, because he was a year older than me as well, but it was a lot at that time. But you could, whenever you were in youth level, you could fight a year younger, a year older.
Yeah.
Do you know? And a year was obviously. I had a lot of fights myself, but he had a lot of fights too. And
Yep. Experience.
was a good experience to be able to be in the safe water Erickson Lubin too. But obviously, I don't like losing. So
Of course, bro. Well, cool, bro. Thanks for running us through the chapters of your fight, you know. Thanks for coming in, bro. And so next one, December 20th, Fortitude Music Hall, that's for Tasman fighters. Other great boxers on there too, Jack Bone, Dana Coolwell. So Tasman fighters are always putting on great fights. So I'm excited to see you on December 20 and to see where you go next year.
yeah, definitely, it's going to be a massive show, and yes, I'll see the Wallace Army out again. You know, we pack out the music hall all the time, and I'm very privileged and honoured to be headlining that show with such great talent on the undercard. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, you're going to see a career best performance and make another statement and cement myself for a big 2024 next year. You know.
Nice, bro. Bro, thank you,
very
eh?
much.
Awesome, my man.